those lines run directly underneath and come right back over here to the edge of the tank, where both of those lines come up and on top of the tank.
And that leak was in here, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
It's right there by the stairs, right as you go up the catwalk. So to me, I'm lazy. If I pull up on location, I would pull up over in here somewhere. I would have took this circle right here and stopped right here in order to be closer to the separator and everything to be able to test that bypass line.
Okay. So by him parking here, he kind of blocks this access.
Nobody can circle around the wellhead.
Okay. Is it normal for somebody to park in that fashion?
No. Well, I mean, now that I think what's all's happened, no. But I mean, at first, it didn't even flag anything for me. But that's where his truck was parked.
Okay.
So I mean, to me, no. If you're going to go out there and test the bypass line, and that's all you had to do, then I would have parked over here to be able to be closer to this and this.
Okay. Plus, I'd imagine you have to get some tools out of your truck.
Yeah, crescent wrench, whatever.
Do whatever.
You do to be able to pressure up the vessel.
Okay.
What tools did he have out?
Whenever I got there, everybody carries a crescent wrench in their back pocket. Whenever I arrived on location, he used his shovel to dig out the hole right there at the bypass line.
Mm-hmm.
And then whenever I got there, they'd already verified that the bypass line or back pressure line, whichever one that is, failed, and that it was leaking underneath the ground, because you can see like a little bitty puddle right there. And Chad McNeil, when he got his lockout tag out, he put it on the bypass line, and I think they did the bypass line at the separator to make sure it was locked out in both directions, so pressure couldn't get in there and feed any more up, so we wouldn't have any further contamination. And then after that, Chad and Melissa, they pulled away since I parked over here with Chris, and Chris had went back to his truck to check his phone. So I grabbed his shovel from right here and I walked it back over to his pickup and handed it to him. And he said, no, there's still, since that stain's still there and the dirt's already stained, we're going to put that back in there. So then he filled back in the hole, and then he came back over to the pickup. And then after that, he left first because I told him I grabbed the gate. So he got out of here, went through, and then I followed behind him and I closed the gate behind me.
Okay. So when you get there,
Yes, sir.
I'm sorry, let me back up.
Yeah, whatever you need.
So you get there, Chris is parked here.
Yes, sir.
And say, who else was there already?
Chad McNeil,
Chad.
already on location, and Melissa Parrish. They were already there before me.
And Melissa are both on scene. Yes.
Because Cody Roberts was over at the 1029. Cody was already out of survey, but he was at the 1029 because he was going to start that pump unit.
He said he was already out survey, just a generic ranch or at this site?
Well, no, not at this site. Survey Ranch is, the way we speak upon it, is consistent of 7 sites at Survey. And the 1029, if you know the gate from the south, which I'm sure you guys did when you went out there, because that's the only entrance that they are supposed to allow us to go through. As you go up, instead of curving back to go to the 319, you continue to go straight. There's like a little riverbed right there that you cross over and go back into, and that's where the pumping unit is.
Okay. All right, so you get on scene. Chad and Melissa are already there.
Yes, sir.
And Chris.
Yes.
Anybody else?
No.
Okay. Do you see what Chad and Melissa are doing
They were just over there by the bypass line.
over here?
Yes.
Over here?
Yeah, over there by the bypass line.
Okay, we're all three of them over here?
Confirming that. Yes. When I pulled up on location, all three of them were over there.
Okay. Anything seem unusual?
No.
Just out of the ordinary?
No, as soon as I pulled up, and I talked to Chad McNeil about this because he remembered me making a comment that I didn't even remember. As soon as I walked out on location, I got out of my truck, and Chris is usually fairly decently dressed man. He's always got on pretty tight fitting FRs, like really, like he wears area out pants.
What's FR?
Fire resistant clothing. He usually wears that. He was wearing a blue shirt that was baggy. Looked like he'd had like an older shirt for him.
So it wasn't a fire resistant shirt?
It was.
It was?
It was a fire resistant shirt, but different companies make different styles of t-shirts.
Mm-hmm.
And this is not something that, I was used to seeing him in. It was kind of a baggy t-shirt.
Yeah.
And then he had a pair of pull-on boots. And from every time that I can remember out in the field, he had an old pair of boots that he was lace-ups and the toe was about to come off of. And then here about 3 weeks ago, he bought a brand new pair of Red Wing boots down at the FR store here in Platteville, and he always wore those. So when I seen him, on those, I was like, "What, you slumming it today, bud?" And he laughed, and that was it. That was all it was. But I didn't notice that it was, out of the ordinary. I just figured, okay, well, if he didn't get a lot of sleep last night, he was in a rush, he just grabbed what he had, went out to location.
Okay.
But I think it was a pair of Red Wing pull-up boots, because I think the only style of boots he wears is Red Wing.
Okay.
What color was the shirt?
It was blue, a very dark blue, like a navy blue.
Okay. And that shirt was different than the shirts that he usually wore.
Yes, well, usually he wears I believe it's Ariat that makes most of ours that come from down there. They're a little bit better looking.
What's the company name again?
Ariat.
How do you spell that?
I have no idea.
Is that the shirt you were wearing when we first spoke to you? Okay.
Yeah, those style of t-shirts.
Okay.
is
So
what
that's
we-
more formal
shirts.
shirt.
Yeah,
Okay.
they fit a little bit closer and stuff like that. But this other shirt he had, because like you guys had said the last time, he's lost a lot of weight here in like the last 6 months to a year. So I think it was one of his old shirts that he had, in his closet. Because I even have some old shirts like that. They're baggy as heck.
Yeah.
So
Okay. So he's wearing his old boots.
I would say
They're older.
I would say they're older because they're not his new ones. And I've only seen him that I've noticed wear lace-ups. And these were
And these are
slip-ons.
slip-ons.
Yes.
Okay.
Because the reason why drew my attention to them is it drives me nuts if anybody tucks their boots or their pants inside their boots and the boot feel's showing. That drives me insane. So he had it like half tucked. It was weird because one side was down and the other side was tucked into his boot. So it instantly drew my attention.
And that's unusual for him. Is
Yes,
he
well, yeah.
generally,
He's
when you
generally-
see him, okay, let me see if I can make this one make sense. So generally when you see him in a work setting,
Yes.
he's at least dressed, he's put together. I
Yes,
guess, would
he's
that be
dressed
right?
appropriate, yes.
Okay. And not sloppily.
No, he looks like, a field coordinator looks.
Okay.
Because, the higher up you go and everything like that, people pay more and more attention to your dress.
Sure.
So I always try to come to work looking as nice as I possibly can. I've only got what God gave me. So, but, he was always nicely dressed.
Okay.
And that was just kind of threw me off, so I gave him shit about it. I just made that comment. I'm just loving it today. And that was it. I mean, that's as far as it went. Chad laughed, Melissa laughed. That was all.
What about his pants? What kind of pants was he wearing?
I believe those would have been, I think the manufacturer on those particular style pants is Bulwark.
Okay.
And he usually wears Ariat because they were a baggier pant than what I'm used to seeing him in.
Did you notice anything, besides the bagginess, anything else about his clothing?
No, I mean, that was it. I knew he was wearing it had to have been an older shirt back from whenever, he was bigger than the pants and the boots.
Did you notice if his shirt was dirtier than normal?
No, he
His
looked clean.
pants dirtier than normal?
No,
anything like that?
everything looked clean. There was no stains on his pants. There was no stains on his shirt.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Did he seem out of sorts? Was he tired, sweaty,
No,
acting different, more quiet than usual? I know you said he's a
Well,
quiet
yeah,
guy.
he's kind of a quiet guy, but that particular day, I try to joke around because I joke around with everybody. That's just the guy that I am in the group, and he would kind of joke around a little bit and stuff like that, but that was it. He was quiet. Some days Chris is pretty talkative. You can have an interaction with him, and other days he's more reserved. Really doesn't engage with you when we do that. We joke about things. We both watched a lot of the same movies, and stuff like that. So we say stupid movie lines, and he just wasn't replying like he normally would. But I didn't think it was out of sorts at the time because of the fact that, okay, well maybe he woke up late, he's tired. I don't know.
Okay. So you guys show up there, you mess with the back pressure line. Do you get it fixed at that point, or
We
do you?
did not get it fixed there.
Okay.
Their line's still currently, as far as I know, locked out, tagged in.
Okay. So how long are you guys on scene to try to fix that?
Well, since they'd already diagnosed the problem, we wasn't there a very short period, like 10 minutes, 15 minutes, I'm guessing,
Okay.
that I was there.
Okay.
Because
So
they'd already been there before me and diagnosed that it was leaking.
so once it's diagnosed that it's leaking, you guys figure out that you can't fix it right at the moment.
Right.
You guys move on.
Yeah, well, we have to move on. As long as it's locked and tagged out, and that line wasn't going to interfere, they wanted us to open up that top field because that location is the Thames location, which it's, the Thames is what helps with emissions, so we don't emit any gas out of the top of the leaf patch or anything. So they wanted that line open, and that's the only reason why it was open. Because Cody didn't even open that line until last week. So we went ahead and closed it, locked and tagged it out. The well was still able to run because it was almost a load out there. I think Cody said it had about 9 foot in it, makes about 2 inches a day. He said by Thursday or Friday that tank should be ready to haul. That's what we did. So that's what we did. We left it running.
Okay, so, and just so I'm clear, everybody left when you guys left?
Yeah, they left, and then...
And did you guys return to the 319 at all?
No, sir.
That day?
I didn't return to the 319 that day. I went back over to the 1029.
Okay.
The 1029 pumping unit is where we were.
Everybody?
Yeah, well, Melissa, Cody was over there because Cody was already at the 1019 prior.
Okay.
And then Chris pulled
I'm sorry,
up,
is it
and I pulled up behind.
1019 or 1029?
1029.
Okay.
1029.
Make sure we're talking about the right one.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
That's right.
319 to 1029.
Yes, I know.
There's so many different well names.
Yeah. Okay, so let me do that one again. So everybody left,
Yes.
and then everybody went over to the 1029.
Yes, sir.
Is that correct?
1029.
Okay.
But
Along
him and
with
I were
Cody.
the last ones on the 319 location.
Okay.
Because I was standing over by that valve that we locked and tagged out, and Chris was over by his pickup. Melissa and Chad got their trucks, and they drove off and said, "We'll see you guys at the 1029." I said, "Okay." So I grabbed his shovel, walked it over to his pickup, and he said, "No, there's still staining on that ground, so we need to cover that up." So he covered it up. We got the truck. I told him I closed the gate. He left, and then I left.
What's the point of covering it up? Just
Covering
I'm
up,
curious.
well, if a state inspector comes out and they find like a puddle of oil right there, then that would be a fine instantly.
Okay.
But if there's this staining on the ground, then you have a chance to investigate what happened. So we're still going to get the line fixed, but until the line was fixed, they wanted the line covered up.
Gotcha. Just curious.
No, that's fine.
All right. So you guys leave, go to the 1029.
Yes, sir.
And you guys stay there for the rest of the day?
I was there for almost the rest of the day. I didn't leave until around 2 o'clock.
Okay. What about Chris?
Chris, I'm thinking it's about 11 o'clock to noon is whenever, because he kept getting phone calls from a lady that was at the house, ringing the doorbell and everything like that, and couldn't get a hold of Shanann. Because she tried to call her, I guess, several times that morning and said that she'd missed the doctor's appointment or whatever that she had.
Okay.
So he was worried. He told me that he was getting worried about it because nobody could reach her. So about 11 o'clock or so, he told us he was going home. But when Chad and McNeil and I talked, I mean, I don't know if this would be anything that you guys could look into further for any kind of evidence or anything, but he told us that he had to use the restroom on the 1029. So he told me it's number 2. So he told us, well, it says, let's go over there by that tank at the 1029. So he backed his truck into the sunflowers at the 1029 and used the restroom.
Okay.
I mean, that's not out of the norm for us because we don't have porta potties out there, but I mean, that is something that he did do on that location.
When did you and Chad kind of discuss things?
Well, I spoke with him again today.
Okay.
He's like, you want to make sure that you bring that up to those gentlemen in case it can't help anything.
Right.
Because I talked to Chad and I talked to Luke and told him that I was going to be coming in today.
Okay.
Because, I mean, Chad's the other field coordinator, so I was keeping in the loop with him, and I called him because Luke didn't answer the first time. So I just wanted to call Luke to let him know that I was coming into the office today to do an interview with John.
Okay. Okay.
Can we back up to the 319 for a second?
Yes, sir.
Go ahead.
When he was he looking around, just get at kind of the surroundings at all? Did you
Well,
notice?
Okay. Whenever we got ready to get back in our pickups and leave, he was messing on the phone, like texting or whatever. I don't know if he was texting the lady that was at the house or whatever the case may be. It didn't seem odd to me at the time because I thought he was walking toward the back of his pickup, and before we leave the location, we're supposed to do a circle check. A 360 circle check. That means you walk all the way around your pickup to verify that there's nothing in your way so you don't hit it. So whenever I seen him walking, he walked right past his truck, just a little bit, not very far, and looked out in the field like that, and then he walked right back, and that was it.
Did he do a full check, or did he look at a specific point?
No, he didn't look at any specific point. It was like his eyes were just kind of up like looking toward the sky.
Okay.
He just had his head up and just kind of looked around like that, and then turned around and walked right back.
So is he looking out into the field, or
Yes,
was he looking back
he was
over the
looking out
path
into the field.
to the south?
Yeah, that would be. I guess that would be the south. I get confused when
Yeah, basically towards 76.
So-
All right,
South
so
is
parked
that
right
right?
here. Yeah, he walked right past his pickup, just a little ways, not like super far, but just right past his pickup because I thought he was doing a circle check. And then he looked out, just looked across the field real quick, and then he walked right back to his truck and got it.
So was he off the pad out here in the weeds?
Yeah, well, yeah, because way he parked his truck with his tailgate was right kind of by the weeds.
Right back here?
Yeah, right back here.
And he's looking off in this direction, is that?
Yeah, he was looking off, well, yeah, because he walked right past here, and he was looking back in here. I mean, it was just brief. It wasn't like he was staring or nothing like that. He just walked back there, kind of glanced around, and walked right back to his pickup.
Okay, but if you're doing a safety check, you should be looking
Yeah, if
here,
you're doing a circle check,
here.
you should be walking right next to your pickup. You check your wheel wells and everything to
Yeah.
verify that there's nothing there or anything behind you when you go to back up, that you're going to hit, because we have a lot of operators hit fixed objects.
I'm sure.
So, yeah.
I would be one.
It's a big deal.
I'm sure it is.
Yeah. Is there anything out here that would be of interest at all?
No, because I mean the well pack for this site is just right here. This is just fenced off right out in here, because there is a fence around this whole entire location, and then the gate right there, and we're supposed to keep the gate closed because the landowner or the gentleman that rents the ground doesn't want his cattle inside this,
Right.
doesn't hit any valves or
Oh,
anything
yeah.
like that. So that's all there is right here, because the wellhead's here, your separator's here, your tank's here. That's the only thing that we mess with right there.
Okay. Then, when you got to the site, I think you said he had a shovel and he was already digging.
Well, no, the shovel was already, whenever I got to the 319, they'd already dug it up.
Okay.
His shovel was standing right next to the freaking catwalk. So whenever I walked up, his shovel was right up here.
Okay.
And the hole had already been dug
How big of a
right
hole?
there. That big around.
How deep?
8 inches,
Okay.
maybe 8, 9 inches. Because I don't think the lines are very deep underneath that berm. And then before they elbow and then come up, right there by the tanks. So you could see a little puddle right there of oil about that big around, and that's it.
Okay. Did Chad or Melissa have shovels out too?
No, not that I know of, because I think Chris had already done that. Because that was the only shovel that I seen that was out of the pickup on location.
Did Melissa or Chad have any other tools out?
No, everybody just carries their crescent wrench. So that's our thing. As soon as we get out of the truck as operators, 90% of our job will focus on a 12-inch crescent wrench. So I always carry that in my back pocket even when I hop out, because we use them to change or turn the wing valves on the wellhead, the inlet valves, the separator, the dump valves, everything. We use the 12-inch for everything.
Okay.
So if you jump out of your truck without the crescent wrench, it's kind of like you're useless.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I always give all the new guys heck whenever they jump out. I was like, you haven't been operating very long, have you? You forgot your crescent wrench. So they'll go back and get it out of the pickup. So.
All right. And then, so Chris is getting phone calls and texts. Can't find Shanann.
Right.
And he says he's worried about her. And then he leaves at some point. Do you remember about when that was?
I would say between 11 and 12.
Okay.
Somewhere in that time frame window. I don't remember exactly. I know I'll wear a watch, but, I didn't think anything was
Didn't
out
pay
of the norm
attention. Yeah.
at all. So
No.
I didn't, attribute that to anything.
Yeah. And how far is it from the 1029 to the 319?
1029 to the 319. Like 5 minutes.
So it's pretty close.
10 minutes, yeah. It's not that far away. I mean, you have to take that road, go out back out of the 319, and you head back toward that original gate. But as soon as you hit that intersection where you turn and go to the gate, you can turn right, and then you head up that hill just a little ways. And then, like I was telling you, that riverbed, and you cross the riverbed, and the 1029's right there.
Okay.
So all those wells are pretty short driving distance from each other.
Yeah. Okay. And to your knowledge, he didn't go back to the 319?
No. But Chad and I were staying on location at the 1029 because we had to call, I think, Steve Ergonati, and he shoots fluid levels for us because we had that pumping unit going for almost 2 hours, and the stuffing box was heating up. And the polish rod, because there was no fluid, it wouldn't bring any fluid down hole. So I don't know if something's happened down hole with the pump, but the stuffing box is right on top of the wellhead, and as soon as that thing heats up, you have to keep spraying it or putting grease on it or anything like that to keep it cool, because as soon as you burn those rubbers, if any fluid does come up, then it would go all over the place.
Sure. Yeah.
So we had to shut the unit down, change out the stuffing box rubbers, and then we gave Steve Ergonati a call, and he has a echo meter type deal where he shoots nitrogen into the backside of the casing so you can see the fluid level. So well, actually he shot it into the tubing, but you can see the fluid level on his computer because it can tell you that sound wave that runs down the well, tell you where all the collars are and everything. And I stayed out there while they shot the fluid level.
Okay. so you work on the 1029 for the rest of the day?
Yes, and about 2 o'clock I left. Chad was out there longer because he was talking to Steve.
Okay. And you left, and what'd you do after that?
I left and went straight back toward, like Hudson and everything, so I could come back into the middle of the field. That way I could be there if anybody needed anything, because being a field coordinator, you have to wait until everybody leaves the field and everybody checks out to make sure everybody makes it home safe before you can leave the field. So then as soon as the last person checked out, I can give you the time on that too.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what time I checked out. Headed out, Daniel Barr, and I checked out right there, right after Daniel Barr.
And what time was that?
So, I'm guessing that was about around 3:56 p.m.
A little after 4, maybe?
Yeah.
Maybe right before?
And Chris didn't send the message when he was leaving the field, so I put Chris's out as well.
Okay.
Everybody have a good evening.
Can you scroll up to the beginning of the day? I understand that
We don't
usually,
have sponsor, no.
when you check into a site too, most people will use the group me to say, hey, I'm here, or I'm over here,
Okay, that's
whatever the case is.
Saturday, Sunday, because this is Victor Zambala. He worked the weekend.
Okay.
All right, and then Cody at 6:30 or 6:28 a.m. in the field.
Yeah.
We're out in the field. I don't know. Luke saying that Alex is on PTO.
Okay.
So Tony or Robbie to please cover that route. And I got a O2 hit at 11:21 a.m. on my gas monitor because I was getting a pipe wrench out of my toolbox, and if you stand too close to that exhaust where your truck's running,
Oh, yeah.
it'll give you a hit. So the IOC called me 3
Things got
times.
sensitive.
Oh yeah,
Wow.
they had to call me 3 times because now anytime our monitors ding where we get a hit,
Yeah.
the IOC calls to verify that we're okay.
Okay.
And then
Okay.
Okay. Would it be unusual for people to not check in group?
no, not all the time. I mean, if you're out in the field, and as long as it's usually after 6:30-ish, Alex Ray, he'll always send a message whenever he's out in the field, and usually Alex gets out there real early, like 5:30. He's almost like my alarm. He sends a message whenever he gets out to the field, but he was off all the way from Monday till Thursday, I believe.
Okay.
And
What
that's
about-
on Luke's calendar down there if we need that. So.
What about for Chris? Does he usually check in?
No, usually he comes to the office.
Usually comes to the
Yeah.
office.
Because usually we just see all each other out in the office, because he usually carries a big red jug that he fills up with water every morning. It's about yay big, and he always gets water at the ice machine down there in the breaker.
So for Monday, would it have been unusual for him to not stop at the office first?
Well, he told me on Friday that he was going out to the 319
Right.
to check out that leak.
Okay.
So we didn't think anything of it.
Yeah, but just overall, is
So
that
yeah, because he always comes to the office.
okay? Always, or
I would
most of the
say
time?
pretty much always.
Okay.
You know, he's there because that's where him and I meet, because we're both field coordinators, and he'll, talk to me about any issues that we're going to have out in the field that day or what we need to do.
Okay.
So we'll just go over that and we'll head to whatever locations we need to. But I always meet him every morning down there in the break room.
Okay.
Why he was so quick to jump on this 319
No,
to go
sir,
check it?
I don't.
Because we're all the way back at Friday,
Right,
and he's talking about, hey, I'll go Monday and do it.
right. No, and Cody's like, okay. Because Cody's the operator out there, so.
And why wasn't Cody fixing it?
Well, Cody found the stain, and Cody found that stain later on in the evening. I can see what time on Friday. Cody
Okay.
called me.
Yeah.
And he said he was going to run back to a couple different locations and or back to at least one of the locations out there where he had some oil gator. And that's just some stuff that we can mix in with the ground, any kind of wool that sits in there, and that'll help break that stuff down and everything, and remediate that stuff. Let's see.
Would it be typical for somebody to declare ahead days out, like before the weekend starts, that hey, I'm going to be doing this, or would that usually be something you do the
Well,
day morning of?
Chris just said since he lived on 52, right off Highway 52, that it's a straight shot from him to leave his house, go straight to Hudson, and jump on 76,
Okay.
and go out there and verify it. Usually when we verify a line that's got a leak, we usually have more than one person out there.
Okay.
That way if we do send pressure to that line, one person could be here verifying, the other person could be at the separator sending the pressure. That way if there is a leak, we can hurry up and shut it off.
Okay.
That way we don't have excess contamination.
Right.
And
That makes sense.
whenever Cody Roberts called me the last time, because I called him and asked him how it was going, and then he called me again whenever I was in the parking lot on Friday of that week. It was at 3:13 p.m. Whenever Cody Roberts called me and identified that there was a leak out at Circuit Ranch, or at least at the time he suspected that there was a leak.
Okay.
And I told him, don't worry about it, dude. It's Friday, we'll double check it on Monday. We can go out there on Monday morning and verify. And that's whenever Chris said, I'll go out there on Monday morning. So,
Is he usually one to volunteer for something like that?
yeah, usually he is. I mean, he's really good about doing that stuff.
Let's go to Tuesday.
Okay.
Tuesday morning, tell me what you do.
Tuesday morning, I come into the office, meet with the group, talk about whatever we got to do that day. I know that we had training set up to go, because Luke sent out a message for training that we had to have at the Aquaterra State. So I went to the Aquaterra State.
First?
No, not first. I'm trying to pull it up for you.
Sure.
Okay, we're still on Monday. Let's go to Tuesday.
Did you have any contact with Chris on Monday evening?
Monday evening, the text messages I gave you.
Yeah, I think
I just sent him a
just asking
text.
how he was.
Okay.
Chris was pretty short, or just saying.
Yeah, none of his replies were very long. But, and then Luke sent out in the group me that morning at 6:31 that Chris would not be in that day.
6:31.
Yes, because I guess he called and talked to Chris Tuesday morning.
Who did?
Luke Apple. Okay, they ordered an air compressor. Everyone meet me at the Aquaterra State, 1836 at 11:15 p.m. for some training. Bring your Mod 1 books if you have them, because we got to complete our Mod 1 before November for any APC blue badges.
What's a Mod 1?
A Mod 1 is a general knowledge of all your parts, moving parts, your separators, your pumping units, your ECDs, your gas compressors, your VRUs, your VRTs. So they want you to be able to go out to a location and walk them through every step on how that functions.
Okay.
So I tested out last year at the beginning of this year on it, and if you didn't get a 2 all the way around, then you would have to turn around and redo it. So the ones that I missed, we're going over some of that, and Luke had another meeting that day, so we were able, or he had to have a phone call at 1 o'clock. So we saw in that location and we went over the air skid. So Aquaterra State's not anywhere.
All right, so Tuesday morning, came here,
Yes.
got your burrito.
Yes.
All right, and what do you do? Do you hang around the office? You go check
Well,
stuff?
I hang around the office for a little bit, just talk to the guys, and then after that, I'm trying to remember honestly if it was Tuesday or what day it was. Victor Zambala was having trouble gauging the tank, so I went out with him because he's one of our new guys. He's having trouble color cutting, and that was at the Canon 6768. And
Where's
I
that
went
one at?
there, right off County Road 22.
So fairly close.
Yeah, County Road 22 and 31.
Okay.
So, I'm trying to remember whether or not Tuesday, because Tuesday you guys had me come back, I believe, to the office.
I think we spoke Wednesday.
Was it Wednesday?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was
Came in?
Wednesday.
Okay. Well, okay, I got a call from an officer in Frederick. That was at 2 o'clock or something like that. So, I know I either helped gauge tanks or something that morning, and I told them that we needed to head to training. So we headed out. Did I go with Daniel Barr? I don't know. If you guys pull my card aside, you guys can tell exactly where I was. I was either with Daniel Barr or Victor Zambala that day.
Okay, and then you go to the training.
Yeah, we go to the training.
What time was that?
Training. Well, we had to be there by, 11:15, is that what I said?
Yeah, I think that was what you said.
Yeah, 11:15 for the Mod 1 training. So I show up at the Mod 1 training.
And where was that at?
The Aquaterra State.
Where's that at?
Aquaterra State is, I don't know what the intersecting county road is, but 47 and 4, and then you go east a quarter and south into.
Okay, how far is that from here?
It's on the other side of Hudson. So
Oh, it's a ways.
Yeah, it's on the other side. Like if you take 52 out, like you're going through Hudson,
Mhm.
straight through Hudson, the first road right outside of Hudson, if you're heading to the east, is County Road 47, first dirt road that goes south. So you take that dirt road, go south all the way to County Road 4,
training center for you guys?
No, that's just a vertical that they wasted a lot of money on.
Okay.
Well, it's built closest to the HG sites. It's the only site that we have in the field that has pneumatic air, where all the dumps and everything are run off air compressors. So that's the reason why he went there to train us, because he wanted to go over the air compressor portion of the training.
Okay. So how long does the training last?
Almost until 1 o'clock, because Luke had 15 minutes until he had to be on the phone whenever we were wrapping up.
Okay. So what do you do after you leave the training?
Okay, there from that point, you know, I've got everything here going through my head. And I'm like, what the hell's going on? Because it's been since Monday since we've heard anything from Shanann.
Okay, right. Wait a minute. Stop you there.
No, you're,
So you said you got everything in your head. Tell me what that means.
well, everything that's going on. Yeah, well, Chris took over, you know, and I'm worried about his wife and his kids, because I've known his wife and his kids, you know. I've been over, hung out with Shanann, hung out with Bella, and everything, so I'm like, what's going on here? And he's been real short with me on text messages, you know, and there's been no news updates. I've been seeing, you know, stuff coming out, and people are looking for me, everybody's sharing it on Facebook. So I was like, well, nothing else, it's 1 o'clock, I don't have anything else to do. I'll head back out toward that 319 and, you know, see if I see anything out of the norm and stuff like that. And that's the same time that officer called me.
What prompts you to want to go to the 319?
Because that was the first location we were at that morning.
Okay. Just because, or
Yeah,
something's tripping your
honestly.
suspicion here, obviously.
Well, I mean, honestly, because I've seen him in the different clothes, okay? I seen him in that. And then, you know, and he just was short with me that day.
Okay.
You know, he wasn't really, like, engaging in conversations and stuff like that. And then all of a sudden, you know, 11 o'clock to noon, his wife's gone. You know, supposedly, and he, you know, he thought that she went to a friend's house or whatever. I'm like, this is, you know, even in my head, it's not adding up.
So you've been thinking about this quite a bit as
Well, I love
Monday
my
went
guys
along.
I work with. They're all like my brothers.
Yeah.
You know, honestly. You know, you can ask my whole group. I would do anything in the world for them, you know. I'd be there for them. They can talk to me about anything, you know, and everything. And I was like, man, this is just so weird, because they're such a picture-perfect couple. And all of a sudden, she's just gone, you know. And that didn't make any sense to me, because by then we'd heard that the cell phone was there, the kids' medication was there, the purse was there at the house, everything. And Shanann and the girls were gone. That didn't make any sense to me.
Okay.
Because Shanann lives on that phone, because that's what her business is that phone. So I drove out to the 319, and as soon as I went through the gate was already open. There was a water truck driver on location, and from MPT, and I signed his JSA. So I parked out by the wellhead, and I didn't want to alert the guy that I was, you know, out there looking for anything odd and suspicious or anything like that. So
You know what time that was?
it was around 2 o'clock or so. I arrived out there, and I talked to the gentleman and everything like that. I told him, I was like, well, I think, you know, I might have forgot a crescent wrench or whatever, because I didn't want to tell him, because I didn't know if I should look around the field or what I should do. So that's what I told him.
Okay.
You know, and then I signed his JSA, and I turned around and looked at the clock, and it's like, it's so freaking late that by the time I get out of Survey Ranch and back to, you know, the area around like County Road 22 and, you know, 37, kind of like a baseline, if somebody needs me, then I'm going to be way too far away. So I went ahead and just got back in my truck after I signed his JSA and left location,
Okay. Why did you sign that?
because I'm supposed to.
Okay.
What is
I
it?
have to sign that
What is
JSA.
JSA?
Job site analysis.
Okay.
So these contractors that work for us, if they pull up on a location, they pull a tank, which he pulled the open top water pit. Is what he pulled. That's what he was hooked up to.
So this water truck driver, do you know who that is?
No, sir, I don't know his name.
Okay.
But I did sign his JSA.
Okay.
Did
Is
you
that
know?
what this is?
I signed electronically. He just handed it to me and said, sign this. Because it's his JSA. So you're supposed to go through the steps in order to pull procedures. Yes, that's exactly what that is.
Okay. So this thing here has a list of all these questions, and who filled all this out?
He would have.
He did?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And this is something he fills out every time he goes
You're
on site?
supposed to. Every time you go, well, not every time you go on a site, but if you're pouring a little water, you know, like if they're just driving up on a site, they don't have to fill it out. But if you're doing any kind of work that's outside the realm of normal activity, but for them, that's their job. So they're required to go on a JSA for Anadarko.
Okay.
So they have to fill out the JSA, they have to go through their job steps and everything. or pulled up, he had his vent line and everything in the right direction. You know, he had it vented away from his truck, you know, and the wind wasn't blowing toward his pickup or nothing like that.
Where is he parked when you get here?
He was parked, okay, your water pit's right here.
Yep.
He was parked right here.
Is that a normal place for him to park?
Yeah, that's a normal place, I would say, for him to park, so he can, I believe you have to go over the top to pull these open top pits. So he would just put his load line inside that pit right there and then pull out the sludge.
Okay.
And he was hauling this load to the OPF.
To where?
The OPF, the oil polishing facility.
Okay. Where's that at?
That's on County Road 49.
Where do you park when you pull up on Tuesday?
When I pulled up on Tuesday, I went right by him, right over here, and I pulled up right about here on the location.
Okay.
And then he walked over from his pickup before I ever even got out of my truck, and he was right here. And I signed the JSA right there.
Okay. Did he ask you what you were doing?
Yeah, and I told him I was looking for a crescent wrench.
Okay. But that was bullshit.
Well, I didn't, just because things have been so out of sorts, I wanted to, to go out here to see if I seen anything, because I've spoken to that officer too.
Okay. When you remember what the officer's name that you spoke to?
I got a voicemail. And I spoke to him at like 2:04. But, things in my head weren't adding up correctly, in my eyes. So, I do have a voicemail from him. I didn't delete it.
At what time?
He called me earlier when we were trying to.
Troy, this is Officer Walgie with the Frederick Police Department. I was wondering if you could give me a call back.
Can we play that first part again?
Officer
303.
Walgie.
This message is for Troy McCoy. This is Officer Walgie with the Frederick Police Department. I was wondering if you could give me a call back on my cell. It's 303-500-4073. Again, that's 303-500-4073. I was calling you with regard to, we're working on trying to find a missing person. And I was going to ask you, Christopher Watts, I believe that you work with him, gave your name as someone that he was going to meet yesterday in the early morning, possibly would be, or that you work out at a site where he was going to be working. So, anyway, he gave your name. I was just wanted to talk to you. A couple questions with regard to Chris, and that would be it. So, if you could give me a call again, Officer Walgie, W-A-L-J-E of the Frederick Police Department.
Yeah, really.
You call the police department. I'm currently there, currently here, I should say, and I can talk to you at the office if you feel more comfortable calling that number. But again, my cell is 303-500-4073 in case I have to leave. Thank you. Good night.
All right, thanks.
Yep, no problem.
Did you know that the water guy was going to be out there?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
No, the water guy was out there. Well, Cody Roberts told me that he was going to have the load bottomed out at Survey. And then he also told me that the load line was leaking on the tank.
Okay.
Because that load line is leaking on the tank that was almost full.
That was on Tuesday, or was that another day?
I think it was on Tuesday. He called me and told me that they were going to have that pit bottomed out. And I think the water truck told me that he got like 15 or 20 barrels of oil out of there, or not oil, but water. And then he pulled the rest of the oil and the PSW that was on top of it.
Okay. So is it normal for you to sign this? If you show up on site when they're on site,
Yes,
want
you
to
have
sign
to
that?
sign that.
You have to?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. So you pull up around here, or approximately here.
Yeah.
He comes over before you're even out of your car.
Yeah, before I even got out of my pickup.
Okay. Do you ever get out of your pickup?
Yes.
Okay. Well, do you walk around, take a
No,
look?
I mean, whenever I get out of the pickup to talk to him.
Okay.
Because he's walking up and he's right here by my truck, so I get out, and everything and talk with him. And then he told me, that he's here to pull a load and everything like that. And I need to sign his JSA, and the screen is scratched to hell on that JSA. You couldn't read nothing if you wanted to. So I input my name, and then I asked him, I said, where do I sign, sir? So I handed it back to him. He handed it back to me after he got me to the screen where I needed to sign, and then I signed my name.
Okay. So does he leave? Or, I'm sorry, go back to his truck?
Yes, sir. He
Okay.
went back to his truck. And then
What do you do?
I get back in my truck because I looked at the clock and it's already freaking like 2:04 around that time period. So I'm going to go ahead and get back in my truck and I just leave location.
Okay, so you weren't there for, what, 5-10 minutes?
I wasn't there. No, sir. I wasn't there very long at all.
Okay.
And the gentleman told me that if he found my crescent wrench, that he would lay it up on, the battery or the tank or the separator for me.
Okay,
So,
all right. Did you have a chance to look out in this direction at all?
no, sir, I
He
didn't.
was just on you that quick.
Yeah, he was just right there next to me. So
Okay.
I was like, okay, and that's good too because they're supposed to be able to approach people. As soon as they see somebody pull up on location, they will approach you.
Okay.
They're supposed to. That's what they're supposed to do. So I wasn't shocked to see him or nothing like that, but he was just right there at the pickup. So I signed the JSA, and because in my heart of hearts, I didn't want to believe that Chris had done anything. I've been his friend for 2.5 years. But with Shanann not getting back to anybody, even like calling her parents and just being like, hey, I'm fine. Yeah, I'm safe and sound. Bella and the kids are with me. We're good. I was like, that was the location that he was at that morning. So that's why I went out there. Because, everybody's looking for clues and tips, anything that can help. And I honestly just want to help.
It's something's needling you about this.
Yeah, it is. Well, I mean, I didn't say it in our first interview, but the clothes. The clothes, it was just different to me. And then whenever I told you about how he walked by the back of his truck, it was odd. And then now all of a sudden I find out, the next day that his girls are gone. And there's a missing persons report and everything for him. Nobody's heard nothing from him. I'm a father. If my wife was gone and everything like that, I'd be freaking out.
Oh, yeah.
And, he's just like, hey guys, I gotta go. It wasn't like necessarily like a panic whenever he took
There's
off.
no
that day.
urgency to it.
But he's like, hey, I just gotta go. And that's all he said. Because he rolled down his window and he pulled up to Chad McNeil's pickup that day. And he's like, hey, guys, I gotta go. Something's not right at home. And then he drove off.
How did he drive?
And he just pulled away normal. It wasn't like he was in a fire rush, If I had my friends call me and tell me, or my wife's friends, that my wife was missing and my 4 kids weren't at home, I'd be freaking out. Honestly.
Pedal to the metal.
Yeah.
Yeah, with you.
Why did you park there?
Because that's where I seen him park.
And when the water guy approached you, why didn't you just keep looking around like you originally did?
After he approached me and everything, because I was looking at the clock, because I need to be off somewhere close to the time frame, like 2:30ish and stuff like that,
Okay.
so I can actually get home, because I live in Greeley, and from Greeley to Surrey is a heck of a long drive, and my
Yeah,
wife
please.
babysits and everything else, so I want to get home whenever it's close to time, because I'm not trying to milk the clock, any extra overtime or anything like that.
Right.
So after he approached me, we talked for, just a couple minutes and everything like that. He told me that if he found my crescent wrench, that he'd put in a tank battery for me. And that was it. I got right back in my pickup. I drove around slowly to the location, drove around the edge of the location right here. I just drove around right here,
Okay.
and then just went ahead and took off.
Why didn't you tell him the truth?
Because I didn't want to tell him that I was searching for any kind of suspicious things on location.
What would have been wrong with that, though, if you had just said that?
Well, I know, but I mean, at the time, whenever I was approached, that's what I said, honestly.
Okay.
I mean, I'm not here to lie to you guys, I'm upfront and honest about it. Obviously, you guys knew I was there, and I've got no problem telling you exactly why I was on location. So,
Did you talk to your wife about this on Monday when you got home?
well, yeah, because Shanann and Juanita, did the Thrive thing. Because Juanita's a promoter as well. She's never even hit her 4K on that. And it just doesn't feel right. For those girls to disappear and Shanann to disappear, and she's such a public person and everything like that. So the wife was worried about them. She wanted to make sure that they were going to be okay as well.
What was your conversation about? Tell me, not necessarily about, tell me what was your conversation like? Were you guys, convinced something had happened or just a little bit concerned?
Well, we were concerned because, I mean, it wouldn't be out of the realm of possibilities if they were having issues, and she wanted to leave, if that was the case, for her to take the girls, because I figured she would, and go ahead and go off to a friend's house, because he told me that he thought Shanann had went to a friend's house that morning. So
Chris told you that?
Yeah, it wasn't nothing out of the norm. Like she goes over to friend's house and stuff all the time. But that's what I told my wife. I was like, well, I don't know if she took off, went to a friend's house, whatever the case. And later on in the day, we found out the cell phone was still there, and everything, the purse, all that kind of stuff. And then it just didn't start adding up. You never want to think that one of your coworkers would be capable of doing something like that to a person, anything. And then.
So at what point do you start to think that Chris has done something?
Well, the only part I start to think would be Wednesday. Because I drove out to location. I wasn't out there very long on Tuesday. Didn't see anything out of the norm while I was there. But I really didn't look around. I was just got back on my pickup and drove off. And then Wednesday, I didn't text him at all. Nothing. I didn't, try to check on anything. And then, then Wednesday would be the day that you guys called me, roughly around 10 o'clock.
Yes,
or so.
I think it
Yeah,
was.
and then I go back to the office and have a talk with you, Joe.
Were you out at this location ever again after Tuesday?
No, sir, I wasn't. Never again.
Do you know who else has been out at that location since
Cody
they?
Roberts was out at that location on Tuesday.
Tuesday?
He had to do something out there. I think Cody Roberts was out there, though.
Do you remember about the time?
No, sir, I don't. That's just from Cody talking to me.
Okay.
Telling me that he was out on location.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about Melissa or Chad or anybody like that? Did they ever go back to 319?
Well, I think Melissa would have been back out there because Melissa's been chatting with Cody.
Okay.
Because Cody starts automation cross-training next week.
Okay.
So that's the whole reason why Melissa was out there anyway.
Right.
Because she's not the normal operator. She's just a trainee that just got signed off on her SOPs, standard operating procedures.
Mm-hmm.
And then now we're feeling comfortable enough to let her run a route and see how she does.
Okay.
So that just happened to be a particular route when she drew.
Okay. Would there be any reason for anybody to drive out here in the weeds?
No, sir.
Right.
That's no reason at all for doing that.
Is that permitted? You guys get
No.
busted for that?
No, yeah. Like whenever you're out of Soybean Ranch, if you read that sign, it's supposed to be by that gate.
Oh, yeah, it's got the
You're
rules
staying
on
the
it.
ranch road.
That's right.
You don't want to be caught outside of those ranch, on the leash roads that are out there. You'll be your butt ripped.
Yeah.
I mean, most of our landowners that we have are like that.
Yeah, sure.
Even Mr. Batting is that way.
Okay. Anything else that we haven't talked about regarding any of this stuff that you can think of that we need to cover? Even if you think it's not related or it's frivolous or anything else you can think of, suspicions, just rumors, anything else you can think of.
Right. Well, I'm trying to go through my head on everything that I could have said to him that day. I mean, with all this stuff that's going on, sometimes it's hard to remember, but I do. Another thing, that morning, he told me they were having issues and everything like that, but...
Was it Monday morning?
Yes. Yeah, he said he had having some issues and everything. And, he's like, well, her wedding ring was laying on the counter. That's what he told me. But the wedding ring was on the counter. And I was like, why would she leave her wedding ring on the counter? I was like, well, I guess that she just threw it at me. I don't know. But he sounded hopeful that they could work things out. So that didn't, necessarily bother me at all. He just told me that the wedding ring was laying on the counter.
Counter where, do you say?
No, I don't know if it was a kitchen counter, sir, or their dining room table, because they're right there next to each other.
Did he say anything about, hey, this is going to be hard on the kids? Anything like that?
No. He never spoke of his girls.
Never did?
No.
Like
he said that they didn't go to school or whatever at CCMville, because I don't know if they had like a daycare or something that they go to every day. But he said, yeah, she didn't take her to daycare and she didn't go to her doctor's appointment. That was it. That's all he ever spoke to the girls. But he just told me that him and Shanann had issues and everything, and that's why I figured why, because she didn't get in until late Monday morning or Sunday night whenever she got in. And I figured that they just couldn't sleep. Honestly, is the reason why he looked the way he looked. I never put things out of sorts, or even would have thought about things being out of sorts until nobody heard from her.
Right.
And she's not that type of person at all.
Does he generally talk about his girls on a day-to-day basis?
Here and there, if they get to go do something.
Okay.
He loved playing with them and everything. Last pictures I seen anyway of the girls, other than whenever I seen them on Friday with him. They were happy, laughing, and everything when we met in Fort Lupton. And like the trip that they took out to the beach in North Carolina. He always posts stuff like that. And for the most part, if anybody asked him about his kids, he would just light up. They were like, in his world. It's what it seemed like, but now, what we know now, obviously that must have not been the case. Because any father that loves their children would never do something like that. So, I'm just blown away with this, and I know me going out to location on Tuesday does not look good upon my part. And I told the guy I was looking for my wrench, but I had that sick feeling in my stomach. Okay, we haven't heard anything from her. If I can find anything out on that site where I can tell authorities, something about it, that, we could find out what happened. I was praying to God that wouldn't be true, because that's a guy I worked with for 2.5 years.
Right. Is your buddy?
Yeah, I would consider him a friend. We didn't hang out outside of work hardly at all. I went down to his house twice for thrive parties, like I told you guys before. And I met him at Fort Lufkin because he asked me to try to put some programs in the fire stick for him. I said, okay. That was the only reason why we met, and it was a brand new fire stick straight out of the box. And I handed it back to him on location that morning. So.
Okay. Yeah. Good. No, but just understand that we had come across this information about you being on site on Tuesday.
Right.
And it just one of these loose ends that we need to tie up.
I understand that. That's why I said I had no problem coming down and talking to you.
Sure, no problem. And I appreciate that. And I think you pretty well told me that you recognized that something was wrong, and you put a few things together that's tripping your suspicion.
That's why one of the first things I brought up to you guys is, okay, we're at the 319. That was the site that I met him on. I got a map out of my truck. Anything I can do to help. I went and got you guys a map so you guys could take pictures of it or whatever. You called me and asked if we go out to Survey Ranch together. I said, yes, sir.
Yep.
I didn't hesitate, and I drove straight from County Road 37 and 52, where I received your phone call, straight to Hudson and waited there for you until you guys arrived on location.
Yeah.
Because, I wanted to help.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was going to turn out this way.
No, and I appreciate it.
We appreciate that.
But, and obviously you thought something was up, because that wasn't adding up.
Yeah, I paid attention to a lot of things. I've got ADD. I notice stuff that's just different, that a lot of people just kind of gloss over. But I've got so much that runs through my mind all the time, I don't remember everything. But then Chad and I started talking about the day that we were on that location, and that's whenever I remembered all that stuff. So I was like, okay, I'm going to have a meeting with those gentlemen today, tell them everything that I know, just to see if I can help out in any way, shape, or form. Because, I can't believe what happened. That's absolutely terrible. And then to read on number 7 or something like that, the tanks were involved with that too. Possibly. I don't know if that's the truth or not, and I don't know if you guys can't say. That's part of the investigation, but I was standing right there by those tanks, and if I was that close to that blows my mind. It honestly does. I don't even know how to process this. I was starting to feel better a little bit, talking to the counselor a little bit. I didn't talk to him one-on-one. We talked to him in the group, And my buddy Tony Brown, he was bawling. Chad McNeil was visibly upset. I've been crying most of the night once I found out the news. And I don't know. Anything I can do to help you guys, I'm more than willing to.
Yeah, we appreciate that.
But I just don't know. This is absolutely horrible. I've never been a part of this in my life. I've never been in trouble in my life, I don't have any experience with talking to officers or nothing.
Yeah, and understand, we're not accusing you.
Right, yeah. But I know it looks terrible.
It's just one of those loose ends we need to tie up. Yeah. It's just one of those loose ends we need to tie up. I understand. Come back and I can say, yeah, he told us about, X, Y, and Z, and this is why he was there.
Yeah, because I want to be honest with you guys.
Yeah, and we appreciate that.
Yeah.
So, did Anadarko bring in a counselor for you guys?
They did. It was a gentleman. It was an older gentleman. I don't remember his name. I've got the paperwork that he gave us we have a counseling hotline that we can call if we need any help. And I believe he was here yesterday today's Friday, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, he's here today as well.
Okay.
Because we had our meeting yesterday morning and he sat and talked to us for about an hour. And then our boss came in and talked to us and he said, I'm sorry that I wasn't able to, be able to say anything to you guys or anything about what had happened. Because it was Wednesday night, right, that it came across the news that he had confessed. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Late Wednesday night.
Yeah, late Wednesday night. Because I was on just asleep, and Tony Brown called me, and he's bawling his eyes out.
Yeah.
And I said, this can't be true. And then we pulled it up, and we seen that it was true. And my wife cried unconsolably for an hour and a half. I was trying to calm her down. I mean, it's just been tough on everybody.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I can't imagine the way that those families feel. Because they've been absolutely ripped apart.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and then to find out that she was pregnant with a little boy.
Yeah.
They invited me to their gender reveal party. You know, and then it got deleted. I didn't know if we deleted it or nothing, but it just, you know, no gender reveal party. Because I believe that was supposed to take place on the 16th.
Speaking of that, you know who Nicole UTEF,
Other than seeing her on the news, sir, for the interview that she
yeah,
did.
that's the only person, that's the only way you know who that is.
Well, the other person, that Nicholas, that you guys have got going,
Nicholas.
well, yeah, you guys, the interviews that you guys have seen online, he's a bald gentleman. And in this interview on the news, he's sitting on a park bench with his wife right next to him.
Mm-hmm.
That was the gentleman I was telling you about that Chris would run with all the time.
Okay.
That he was running together trying to
Yeah.
get 5K.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
you talked to him.
Okay. But no, I didn't know any of the other Thrive group outside of any of that.
Okay.
Because the Thrive party that we went to, we built a vision board, which I still have in my house, and my wife still has hers. Because you're supposed to put your goals and put out pictures and all that, so we done that with them, ate supper with them. But like I said, that was, you know, like February-ish or something, you know.
Yeah.
Because I just met Shanann for the first time at our Anadarko Christmas party.
This most recent one.
Yeah, the last year's Christmas party, you know, and I don't know what date that was or anything, sir, but, you know, because I text Chris and everything, because we've been working together, you know, long enough, and he wanted to sit by my wife and I. So we hollered at them. I got to meet Shanann, you know, and found out how bubbly her personality was and just how awesome she was. You know, and then I guess she had lupus, and by taking Thrive, it was able to help her, you know.
Yeah.
And so my wife is suffering from acid reflux and everything, and she said, well, that might help you. So I got my wife on Thrive, and she's been doing better ever since, you know. And I thank Shanann for that, because Juanita had to take medications all the time and just weren't helping her, you know. So,
Yeah. It's a terrible circumstance, no matter how you look at it.
it is bad. I mean, the only other situation that I've ever been close to that would even resemble this at all, which it doesn't, was be my dad's passing. And that's the closest I've been to anything like that. I've been pretty fortunate in my life not to have anybody I know ever have any serious trouble, you know, or nothing like that, or anybody else that I know personally pass. You know, all my friends are still alive, you know, by the grace of God, thank God for that. But to have something like this happen, the guy that I spoke with every freaking day for 2.5 years, you know, and then just to go like that. And like I said on Friday, when I met him, he seemed fine, man. He was laughing, smiling, you know. He went to the console, and it might still be in the console of that vehicle. They had gum, like little bubble gum deal. It was white, and it was like tangerine. And he gave it to each one of his girls, and he asked me would I like a piece of gum, and I took a piece of gum from him. You know, it's not off at all on Friday, at all. Just normal Chris. You know, and I can't fathom what would have happened between that time frame for any of this to take place. I just can't. But,
Yeah.
I mean, anything y'all need from me,
Yeah, we appreciate that.
I'm more than willing to help. Because I don't know what I can do at this point.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, obviously seek counseling, because this has affected you. I mean, it's affected pretty much everybody involved, us included. Just especially from being out at the site, and the folks who, you know, gone through the recovery process. It's
Well, I
a terrible
asked you
circumstance.
once that this, you know, once that it was confirmed that something was out on the site, whenever I got drove home yesterday, because they wouldn't let me drive my truck, because I was a freaking wreck. And the gentleman that drove me home, I asked him, I said, is there any way that I can never have to go out into that area again? I can't stand being on that location, because I knew her. I knew those two little girls. They played with my girls. My girls loved them. I can't even watch the news, because if my daughters, CCC and Bella, on there, I don't want to have to tell them that they're in heaven now. You know? I don't know what else to do.
Yeah.
But I'm sorry I went out to location on Tuesday. But it just
No,
didn't sit right with me. It honestly
You don't have
didn't.
to apologize.
Don't worry.
I think that's a very astute observation, that you picked up on something's wrong, and just that you put together the totality of the circumstances. And I think you went out there just to even ease your mind a little bit to say this
Well, yeah.
this can't possibly be.
So when I talked to you guys on Wednesday, you know, before anything came out, later on that evening, I told you I wanted to help you do whatever I could. You know, whether it was find the girls, if Shanann just went away or whatever she did with a friend, you know, for clear his name, because I honestly thought at that time he was innocent. But I wanted to know in my heart of hearts if I seen anything odd out there that I could call an officer and have them investigated.
Yeah.
You know, and that's why I was out there.
No, and I think that's a very reasonable explanation.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
This is kind of for later down the road when, like maybe as defense counsel finds something like this,
Right.
and then wants to make some story up. We have to be able to say, no, that's stupid. This is what actually happened.
That's fine. I mean, whatever you guys need from me.
Okay.
Honestly.
Does the name Mark sound familiar? Did Chris ever talk about a Mark in California?
No, he's never mentioned a Mark to me.
Okay. Any name that started with an M? Mark name may not be the right name.
No.
Or anybody in
actually,
California, actually.
He's real reserved in the fact that, I mean, he'll let you in on a little bit of stuff.
Okay.
Like he told me his wife and were having a little bit of issues.
Right.
You know, but he didn't say nothing about they were, going to get a divorce or anything like that. It was just issues. But no, when I talked to Chris, it was about fantasy football. You know, he's a big Steelers fan. And I used to be a Colts fan until Manning left because I followed Peyton Manning around. So I don't really watch football much anymore. And I had the 5.0 Mustang I told you about. Well, he used to have the Mustang whenever he lived in North Carolina, and when he moved out here with Shan, they sold it. But he had it all souped up and everything, and since he was a Ford mechanic, I talked to him about issues or questions that I had with my Mustang, and then my wife has she had a Ford Flex, one of the ugliest vehicles on the road.
Yeah.
And we kept having issues with that, because I bought it outright, and that was my fault. I bought it from like one of those buy here, pay here places, but I paid cash for it, and it was terrible.
Yeah.
Had a hole in the gas tank. I drive it for
Nice.
2 weeks and the transmission goes out.
Nice.
So that was like $5 grand.
Yeah, right.
So, no, I'd ask him questions about all that kind of stuff all the time. So, all of our conversations were mostly upbeat, talking about sports, stuff like that. And since I, could sense just from, him telling me that they were having issues, I never asked. That's not my business. That's not my place. What goes on behind their closed doors, that's their business, because my wife and I almost went through a divorce 2 years ago, and I was the same way, so I understood.
Yeah. Have you talked to Luke the last couple days?
Yes.
How's he doing?
Pretty rough.
Yeah, he's pretty twisted up.
Yeah, I spoke to him today, and just because I wanted to touch base with my supervisors and tell them that I was coming in today. And he said, okay, buddy, if you need anything, he asked me if he needed to drive up, because he was at the office today. He brought his personal Suburban down because the gentlemen that weren't able to drive home, Victor Zavala and Daniel Barr, and I believe Melissa. Melissa didn't catch a ride with the gentleman yesterday, but Victor Zavala and Daniel Barr did. So Luke lives out in Wiggins, so he picked those guys up and brought them in his Suburban. And he asked me, did I need to ride down here to have an interview with you guys? And I said, no, it's okay. I'll sit down with my wife and drive me down. That way I can go ahead and pick up my work truck, and drive it back home. So,
Okay.
but yeah, he's pretty shaken.
Yeah.
And Chad McNeil, he's pretty shaken as well. And Tony Brown, he was just all sorts of tore up. I've never seen that man cry in my life, and he was just sobbing the whole entire time we were at the office, and we were talking, about how to, try to let things go and everything, and move on to the future. This guy drew out like a little diagram on the board. I mean, he was just almost inconsolable, It's just tough because I'm looked to as leadership in the group. We're right below Luke, for answers and everything. So all those guys talk to him all the time, and that's why I feel like they're all brothers. I do anything for him, and even Melissa's a sister. Even though she's new to the group, she's excellent. She used to be an EMT and everything. So it's pretty cool having her part of the group.
Yeah.
But
All right. Well, thanks for coming down and talking to us again.
you're
Thank
welcome,
you.
sir.
If you think of anything, I gave you my card last time, didn't I?
Yes, sir, you did. I believe I still have both of your
Okay.
cards. Let me
Yeah.
verify that.
Yep. If you think of anything, give me a call or send me an email.
Okay.
Appreciate that.
Philip Jones?
Yep.
And Greg?
Is that fair?
Okay, I don't want to mess that up.
That's
I'm terrible pronouncing it.
Yeah.
I need to
So you
go
have
on
it
call
cold.
sometime.
I have a cold a lot worse, so.
Yeah. But make sure you talk this whole situation through with people just for your own mental health, because this is a terrible situation,
Yeah.
no matter how you slice it. So everybody's been affected by it that was close to him, family, coworkers,
Yeah.
neighbors, pretty much everybody, the whole community.
I wish that I knew, but like I seen on Facebook, they're raising a GoFundMe page
Okay.
to be able to, I think, get Shanann and the girls back out to North Carolina so they can be, laid to rest properly.
Oh, yeah.
And I had called Luke and asked him if Anadarko would be willing to donate. And he went to some of the higher ups, and all I got to do is take a picture of that link and go and send it to them. And I think they're going to try to donate to be able to help out the family
that's good.
to get them back home.
That's good.
All of us were blindsided by this.
Yeah.
This is terrible.
Yeah.
So, well, even from our point of view, Anadarko has been very nice to us.
Yes.
So,
yeah,
they've really gone above and beyond. And I think you're blessed to work for the company that you work for because they really have stepped up.
Yeah. I've been with them for 11 years. And it just seems like we had a bad stretch of luck last year. Firestone.
Yeah, that should
That
happen.
was a horrible, horrible incident.
Yeah.
And then now, it's already on the news that you work for us.
Yeah.
So I don't know what that's going to do eventually.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, all right. Thanks. Appreciate it.
Thank you guys. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
So that's today's video, guys. Thank you all for tuning in again. Thanks to Destronic for sponsoring the video once again. Use code PADDY if you go and get a motorised desk or chair from them. Thank you to my members and the Discorders. Go and join the Discord free now. As usual, leave your comments and tell me what you think of that video.
Chris Watts himself has written us and told us he doesn't know why he killed his family. He says that he was possessed by a demon from the house. He says that the thrive patches were making him think like demonic thoughts. Chris killed his family because he's a sick He took his bodies to the job, okay? He took the bodies to Anadarko. How dumb can he get? He wanted to get caught. He was going to be killing. In fact, Nikki turned him in. She called the police when she seen the interview because she said he looked like a serial killer. Okay? And she thought, what if he was a serial killer because there was a woman missing from Brighton?
It was just like, I didn't know what was going on. I assumed that she had left, so I was like, well, when you get back, because I knew that they were going through a divorce, it was like, just cover your bases, try not to be alone. And if you are, just record what you guys are talking about, so, like, at the end of the day, like, nothing bad happens to you, and so he said that she woke up, and those two kind of just, like, got in a disagreement, and I don't know what all was said, but he was like, she was being pretty mean. She told me that she's pregnant, and she told me that the kid is not mine. That is what he told me. And again, like, I think he's just saying all this to me to try to cover his tracks with me. Like, I don't know what he told you guys, but I bet it's probably very different, and I think that what he said to me, it was, like, directed towards me. Like,
many of you mentioned that Zawoki and Patty Productions had recently made videos about the alleged cousin of Nicole Kessinger. So I decided to take a look and see if we can find out if this is really Nicole Kessinger or not. Now, I do not claim to be a Nicole Kessinger voice expert, but I have been watching hours upon hours of Nicole Kessinger footage. On top of watching, I spend hours editing, so I have to hear her voice over and over and over again. Of course, this is all just speculation. This is just my opinion. You all make up your minds at home whether you believe that this is Nicole Kessinger or not. I couldn't find anything that confirms that this is a real audio recording from a cousin. There isn't anything in the public records or in the discovery that mentions Nicole Kessinger's cousin by name, and I couldn't find the origin of this audio. Just for the sake of analysis, we are gonna go ahead and assume that this audio came from a reliable source and that it's not a hoax. So with that, we're just going to go ahead and proceed with the assumption that this audio recording was provided by someone who is a reliable source.
Hi, I am Nicole Kessinger's cousin. My mother made a YouTube video. She made one without anyone really knowing she was going to do it. So, and now people know about it. We've already moved, changed our names. We've moved 6 times in a year because of the harassment from people saying that Nicole helped Chris Watts, from people who just want to know this case, who want to meet people, whatever. Okay? Nicole didn't kill anyone. Chris Watts, and Chris Watts alone, murdered his family. Chris Watts didn't have help. He didn't have encouragement. And
so right off the bat, we know that this person that is calling is already making some wild claims. They're claiming to have moved 6 times in 1 year because of harassment. None of Nicole Kessinger's cousins were ever involved. Never was Nicole Kessinger's cousin ever mentioned. Why would the cousin have to change their name? Let's use our common sense here. If Dwayne Kessinger, the man who sat in that interview for 3 hours, 3.5 hours, and we have the video footage, we have his name, we have his information. If he didn't have to change his name and go into witness protection, how much sense does it make for a cousin who we know nothing about to have to change their name and go into witness protection and be harassed? That makes absolutely no sense. Dwayne Kessinger is still Dwayne Kessinger. Dwayne Kessinger still exists, and he didn't have to go into witness protection. I couldn't find anything that pointed to a cousin, or even Dwayne, or even Jim, or even Charlotte having to change their name because of harassment. It just makes no sense. So that's the first thing I noticed with the words that this person is saying. It makes absolutely no sense why any cousin would have to move, especially when we don't have any footage of them. We don't know who this cousin is. So how could this cousin even possibly be harassed? Second, I will say that this voice sounds a lot like Nicole Kessinger. Her nasally voice, it does sound like Nicole Kessinger calling in, who is possibly intoxicated and holding her nose like this and lowering her voice a little and speaking a little bit slower. Let's hear what this person says again, and then let's compare it to some of Nicole Kessinger's words.
Chris Watts, and Chris Watts alone, murdered his family.
Okay, this part. Let's compare it to Nicole Kessinger during her interview with Kevin Kovac.
And I kept emphasizing to him he had 3 kids, and I wasn't even mad about it. I was just you need to find your family.
Chris Watts, and Chris Watts alone, murdered his family. Family.
So I wanted to do that side-by-side comparison because the one word that stood out is family. It's the way that Nicole says family.
Where's your family, Chris? Where's your family?
And I kept asking him, where's your family, Chris? Where's your family? It's long and drawn out with that very low, nasally voice. Where's your family, Chris?
Chris Watts, and Chris Watts alone, murdered his family. Chris Watts didn't have help. He didn't have encouragement. And we got his law. He's got lawyers. He had lawyers before. They could. He's got lawyers before.
This person, this individual, sounds intoxicated and out of it. Completely out of it. It really does sound like Nicole Kessinger under the influence of something. Now, if this person was Nicole's sister, then there might be more of a similarity in their voice. I don't know. A lot of people say that my sister and I have the same voice, but she is a little higher pitched than I am. But how similar would this cousin be with Nicole? I do find it really convenient that this person says that they are a cousin and not a sibling or someone closer related to Nicole. It's not as hard to verify if someone has a brother or sister, a mom and a dad. But verifying the siblings of one's parents and then how many kids that sibling had, that is a lot harder. And how many cousins you have because of your uncles and aunts that all had kids. I mean, how many cousins do we all really have? I can't go out tonight, I'm sorry. My cousin needs me to watch his dog for him. I'm so sorry. Oh. Hello, work? Yeah, I'm so sorry. Hi, yeah. I'm so sorry. My cousin fell down the stairs and now I have to help her. Yeah, she's in the hospital. I'm so sorry. She's my cousin though. She's like my sister. We grew up together. Yeah, she's my cousin. And I need to be there for her. Yeah, I'm so sorry. I can't come to work today. Bye. That's another thing that I noticed with the fact that this person claims to be a cousin. But anyway, let's continue.
Kept contacting everybody, because he wants to talk to Nikki about the baby, okay? So, he has lawyers.
Because he wants to talk to Nikki about the baby. The baby, okay? So Nicole Kessinger is from Colorado, and Nicole Kessinger's cousin is from Mississippi. This person is trying really hard to sound Southern, but it doesn't sound real. Y'all. Let's continue.
So, he has lawyers now because they contacted a few days ago, and that's what set my mom off. My mother is 63 years old.
On November 19th, 2018, Chris Watts was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole for the heinous crimes that he had committed against his own family. But in the years since his conviction, new evidence has arisen that calls into question whether or not Watts acted alone.
Years old. Okay, and she's mentally ill. Okay? She's mentally ill, and she really can't take all this harassment and all this shit. Okay, but
if this person's mother really is mentally ill, I'm really sorry to hear that. But it's the claims. The claims are so wild, and the accent is what's really getting me. He had his liars, and it really set my mouth off. My mother is mentally ill. She can't take all of this harassment. Who is her mom? No one even knows who her mom is. Again, common sense, critical thinking. Let's use that part of our brain. Why in the world would Nicole Kessinger's cousin get harassed? Why? Who is Nicole Kessinger's cousin? None of us know who Nicole Kessinger's cousin is. So again, why would this person get harassed? Let's be real here. Let's continue.
She wanted to rebuttal what she was seeing on, YouTube and all that shit, because the reason that Chris Watts agreed to do a book with Cheryl is because Cheryl was supposed to give money to Nicole. Cheryl never gave any money to Nicole or my mom or anything like that, because she got sued for plagiarism.
Huh? We know that Nicole Kessinger Googled Amber Fry. She Googled, did people hate Amber Fry? She also Googled Amber Fry's book deal. It seems like Nicole Kessinger really wanted to be the next Amber Fry and get a book deal and get some money out of this situation. But it didn't happen. She ended up lying to everybody, and we know it. Why would Sherilyn Cadle owe Nicole Kessinger's cousin money? Let's see that again.
Cheryl is because Cheryl was supposed to give money to Nicole. Cheryl never gave any money to Nicole or my mom or anything like that.
Cheryl never gave any money to Nicole or my mom or anything like that. Why would Cheryl Lynn Cadle need to give Nicole's aunt money? How much sense does that make? Let's continue.
Because she got sued for plagiarism. Cheryl contacted Chris for a second book and, said she would give the money to Nicole. Chris said no, because she didn't give the money to Nicole because of what happened before, and she plagiarized the book.
How is Chris supposed to know if Sherilyn Cadle gave Nicole Kessinger money? So it looks like Sherilyn Cadle has been accused of plagiarism. And this is why we are down this rabbit hole, because who knows? Who knows if we'll ever get the truth? All we can really do is speculate based on footage that we have, try to read their body language and what they're saying. We're still on Watts Island, all of us. We're still wondering, trying to piece things together. That's what we're doing. We're just deciphering all of it. We're trying to see if this is a real phone call. We're trying to see if this is Nicole Kessinger. It could be a hoax. And again, we just have to take all of this with a grain of salt because we don't really know. Sherilyn Cadle was accused of plagiarism, so we don't even know if the things that were in that book are true. We don't know if Chris Watts really said them, and even if Chris Watts said them, is he telling the truth? Who knows, but let's continue.
Then he had his new lawyers reach out again, because the lawyers, they were reaching out early from day one, and then they stopped, and then the lawyers started reaching out again, not like a month ago, and then they called and they set my mom off and all that. My mom is suing a couple of YouTube channels for all the harassment of me, her, Nikki. Nikki is suing.
What in the world? So this person claims, Nicole's cousin, claims that Nicole's aunt is suing a couple of YouTube channels because of the harassment of me, this person, Nicole, and Nicole's aunt. Why is the mentally ill aunt suing people? This sounded like a slip-up. It already sounds like Nicole's voice. It sounded like Nicole is saying, yeah, my mom called because everyone keeps harassing me. They keep harassing Nicole, and they keep harassing my mom, and they keep harassing me, her cousin. I'm her cousin, remember? I'm her cousin.
Then they called and they set my mom off and all that. My mom is suing a couple of YouTube channels for all the harassment of me, her, Nikki. Nikki is suing, but we don't know. Okay, look.
The harassment of me, her, Nikki, Nicole is suing. First of all, suing for what? You can't just go around suing YouTube channels for having an opinion. Just because it hurts your feelings doesn't mean it's harassment. Second, again, it sounds like Nicole Kessinger. We know that Nicole Kessinger was so concerned about her public image. We saw in the interview that she was mostly worried about what's going to happen to her. She is going to have to go into hiding. She says, it's going to probably be months, weeks, until I can go out in public again. Because people are going to be like, you were dating a married man, and She knew the consequences of being involved with a married man, and then this married man annihilated his family. Everyone was going to know about her. She knew that we were going to have our opinions and our speculations about her involvement in this crime, and it was something that really bothered her. We heard it over and over again during that 3.5-hour interview with CBI agent Kevin Kobat.
And then I have to think about, like, the consequences of his actions and how they affect everybody else. Like, all of these, her family's impacted. My name is about to be, like, slandered for probably a while. I don't know how long it's going to take to heal, but I would not be surprised if it's going to be hard to go out in public sometimes for a couple of years. And that really hurts me. I'm just like, this is a horrible, horrible thing. Like, how dare you, you know? And people aren't going to understand that. You know, they're going to say, oh, you know, you're the woman that had an affair with this man who took out his whole family. And I take a step back and it's just like, I didn't know! Like, he's so disgusting. I'm so ashamed of him and everything, and I just, oh, those little girls, they're so little.
Who knows how long it's gonna be before I go out in public? Because people are gonna be like, you know, you're that woman who was with that married man and he annihilated his family, and I'm like, I didn't know! So we know that Nicole Kessinger really cared about her public image. She really cared about what people were going to think about her, because it did affect her life. I mean, we know already that Nicole Kessinger had to go into hiding. She changed her name, she moved. Nicole Kessinger does not exist anymore. This person, the actual person still does, but the name and the identity attached to that person no longer exists. She was not able to write a book like Amber Fry did. Since she wasn't able to do that, since she wasn't able to get closure for herself, and since she wasn't able to defend herself from public speculation and from public scrutiny, I think that she feels the need to do so by pretending to be a cousin. She feels the need to let everybody know that she's innocent. She felt the need to call in back in 2020 to try and defend herself as best as she could through a cousin, because there's no way that she can come out and do it because she doesn't exist anymore. And so she found another way to do it, and it was by calling and pretending to be a cousin. Oh, my cousin knows me so well. My cousin can vouch for me. Yeah, my cousin is gonna vouch for me because she knows me so well. Hi, I am Nicole Kessinger's cousin. Let's continue.
Chris Watts himself has written us and told us he doesn't know why he killed his family. He says that he was possessed by a demon from the house. He says that the Thrive patches were making him think like demonic thoughts. Chris killed his family because he's a sick fuck. That's the reason he killed his family. It could have easily been, I'm a victim. Oh, it breaks my heart. How unfair. Chris Watts himself has written us and told us he doesn't know why he killed his family. He says that he was possessed by a demon from the house. He says that the Thrive patches were making him think like demonic thoughts. Chris killed his family because he's a sick fuck. That's the reason he killed him.
It's just that Chris moved into the Amityville horror house and a demon possessed him. It was that house. That house possessed him. It was the demon. She's trying to blame a house and the Thrive patches. This is just laughable at this point. This is so nuts. If it really is Nicole Kessinger calling in, girl, get it together. Get it together.
Chris killed his family because he's a sick fuck. That's the reason he killed his family. It could have easily been Nikki. Well, what do you think would have happened if the plan would have worked? He would have killed her too. He took his bodies to the job, okay? He took the bodies to Anadarko.
I find this very interesting that this person is now claiming that, oh, Chris would have murdered Nicole too. Had the plan gone through? Oh, I wonder what plan this cousin is talking about. What plan? If the plan had worked out the way it was supposed to, Nicole would have also been killed. So the contradictions, the words that they use, and the voice all leads me to believe that this might be Nicole Kessinger. There is a possibility that this could be Nicole Kessinger. Let's continue.
He took his bodies to the job, okay? He took the bodies to Anadarko. How fucking dumb can he get? He wanted to get caught. He was gonna be killing. In fact, Nikki turned him in. She called the police when she seen the interview because she said he looked like a fucking serial killer. Okay? And she thought, what if he was a serial killer because there was a woman missing from Brighton? You know?
This sounds like Nicole Kessinger trying to convince the public that she had nothing to do with it. We all know how stupid Chris Watts is. And again, I get the impression that not only is she trying to convince the public that she's innocent, she also doesn't want people to think that she's dumb as well. If many of these theories are correct and Nicole Kessinger was the mastermind, she wants to let us know that she's not stupid enough to come up with a plan to dispose the bodies at his work site. She's letting us know, oh, I'm not that stupid. If I told him to kill his family, I wouldn't tell him to dispose of his family at work. What an idiot! Oh, he wanted to get caught. So again, I think it's Nicole Kessinger trying to convince the public that she isn't dumb. And she would not have come up with such a stupid plan. In my opinion, and again, my theory, is that she had a lot to do with the planning. What I think is more important to Nicole, other than people believing that she's innocent, she doesn't want people to think that she is as dumb as Chris Watts. The second thing that I noticed that was actually very telling was that this person is also trying to convince whomever that the woman that went missing in Brighton somehow related with Shanann and the girls being missing. She was trying to find some kind of correlation. That mom in Brighton and Shanann Watts went missing around the same time. Who knows? Maybe it's a serial killer. We know that Nicole Kessinger tried this with Kevin.
Yeah. I'm upstairs, son.
Someone else. I know, like, a woman went missing not too long ago in Longmont. Like, I think it was like 2 months ago or something like that. And you guys, not you guys, but somebody there called off the search on her. I don't think they ever found her. So I was like, I don't know. Maybe that's connected. Maybe somebody came and got her. Maybe he did something. I don't know. But I knew, like, it was a problem.
The things that this person is saying are very similar to what Nicole said in her interview with CBI agent Kevin Kovac. Very, very interesting. Let's continue.
But the Kessinger family did not kill anyone. Christopher Watts killed. That's it.
No one is accusing the Kessinger family of killing anyone. No one is even accusing Nicole of killing anyone. A lot of the opinions and the speculation that we see is that Nicole is more involved than she claimed to be. This cousin is saying that the Kessinger family wasn't involved. Yeah, because no one is claiming that the Kessinger family was involved. This is just Nicole. Nicole and Chris. And maybe from theories and speculation that I've read, maybe Jim. No one, I haven't seen anything of anybody talking about the Kessinger family, Kessinger's cousin or Kessinger's mentally ill aunt. No one has claimed or made any speculations on the cousin being involved. It sounds like Nicole Kessinger defending herself in a really poor way. She's defending herself in a very laughable way. I mean, none of this is actually believable because, again, the things that this person says make no sense whatsoever. Anyone with a little bit of common sense and with a computer can do a little bit of research and connect the dots and figure out that, it's really weird that a cousin that no one knows about went into witness protection. But let me know your thoughts. Again, this is all just my opinion. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know what you think about this person, the things they're saying, and their voice. Do they sound like Nicole? Do they say things that sound like Nicole? Is this Nicole trying to convince the public that she isn't as dumb as Chris and that she wasn't involved? But anyway, let's continue.
We have all in the Watts, you know, they keep reaching out because of the baby. We don't want their help. We don't want anything to do with them. Nicole has been on drugs, where Nicole has burglarized my mother's home 2 times now for drugs.
Okay, so this person is claiming that Nicole is burglarizing her aunt's home, probably finding things to pawn, right? We heard Nicole say that, oh, I used to pawn things all the time. I mean, I pawn things occasionally.
At one point, he mentioned to me,
Dad said he'll try arranging
she loves
things
her
with
wedding ring here.
Sam.
And I said something along the lines of,
Sam's dad's
does that
friend,
mean
and I'm
you two are
friends
done?
with Sam's
And he
daughter.
was like,
Yeah. So I'll try
he
seeing.
said, how much do you think it's
To
worth?
try seeing.
And we were
If
like,
I'll be able to see the scene
like, what the fuck? And I remember thinking to myself, like, I don't know how to respond to this. And so I was like, I don't know, pawn it, man. And I was just like, I pawn jewelry all the time. It's like, I pawn jewelry a few times. It's like, it's not worth shit, though. And I was like, so I don't know if you really want to do that. He was like, no. I just want to get it appraised. It's a nice rock. And I was just like, okay. It's like really awkward.
So again, it sounds like Nicole pretending to be a cousin, and then this cousin, Nicole is on drugs. She's burglarizing my mom's home. She pawned my mom's cat. Again, this person is trying to convince us that they are not Nicole Kessinger. Yeah, let me just talk shit about myself so that I can convince people that I'm not Nicole. Oh, Nicole is on drugs. She likes to burglarize homes. Let's continue.
Nicole doesn't have any fucking money. Nicole can't get a fucking job because of this shit. And what did the only thing Nicole did wrong, she had an affair with a man that was married. Nicole was not a married woman, he was a married man. That's that.
Again, Nicole trying to convince the public, I wasn't married. He was the married one. He made that decision on his own. And then again, the things that this person says. Oh, Nicole can't get a job right now because of all of these things that happened. It's the same thing we heard from Nicole herself. It came from the source herself, from Nicole. She worried about not being able to have another job. She might have to be remote for the rest of her life because she can't go into work. People are going to recognize her. But we know that she worried about this a lot. And now the cousin is mentioning it again. Nicole is burglarizing homes. She doesn't have any money. Nicole doesn't even have a job. This cousin seems to be just as worried as Nicole Kessinger. And this cousin had nothing to do with it. Zero involvement whatsoever, but the cousin sounds way more guilty at this point. But that's because I believe that the cousin is Nicole Kessinger. Let's continue.
He was saying he was going to leave his wife. They were separated. He said they didn't even sleep in the same rooms. You're acting like, you motherfuckers act like Nicole ruined a marriage and all this bullshit. No, she didn't. And he was already stepping outside. They were swinging, they were swingers. So, you know, they were already fucking men. So I don't even, that shit's crazy.
That's crazy. They were already sleeping separate beds. No, they weren't. They were never sleeping in separate beds. They began sleeping in separate beds when Nicole Kessinger got involved with him. None of this was happening before Nicole Kessinger. All of this happened as soon as Nicole Kessinger forced herself into Chris's life. She is a homewrecker. She knew that Chris was married. We don't care what she said in her interview. Everything else, all of the Google searches, all of the text messages, the cousin is trying to convince us that, oh, she didn't know. She's not a homewrecker.
They were they were swingers. So, you know, they were already fucking men. So I don't even, that shit's crazy. And it's all gonna come out. And if Chris would have went to court, it all would have came out. You know? And then maybe you guys wouldn't be fucking harassing Nicole.
Get yourself some new batteries, girl. Replace that shit. What if you get carbon monoxide poisoning?
You know? And then maybe you guys wouldn't be fucking harassing Nicole. And you would harass the people that you need to harass. If you want to know what you will call the fucking truth. Because Nicole was not involved. You need to look at the people the closest to them.
So that was it. Let me know what you all think about this audio recording. Do you think it's Nicole Kessinger? A lot of things do point to that person being Nicole Kessinger. We heard the voice, we heard the stories that this supposed cousin said, and a lot of it does sound like Nicole. In my opinion, I think that if this is not a person who already sounds like Nicole Kessinger, who was trying to pull a prank or a hoax, then I don't believe it is an actual real cousin. I believe it is Nicole Kessinger. But let me know what you all think. Do you think it's Nicole Kessinger? And let me know why. What things stood out? It's a 6-minute audio recording, but a lot was said. And a lot of rambling happened, and a lot of jumping from one topic to another. Very similar to what we see with Nicole Kessinger in her interview with CBI agent Kevin Kovacs. So, who knows? Will we ever get the truth? We don't know. That is what we are still doing here. This is why we're still down this rabbit hole. We're trying to find the truth. But anyway, thank you all for watching this video, and thank you to all of my subscribers for all the love and support that you show on my channel each and every day. Thanks for watching this video, and I will see you next time.